So we don't hope, we hope because of God's lordship over the universe. The only ground for hope is the Judeo-Christian hope. But all we've got is the present. See, no one, if experience is science, you heard those terms before, what do we not have experience of? And then we'll locate some things that what start to happen. If knowledge is grounded in experience, what experience do we have of the past? Well, some, and then they're going to lambast that. The text, records. Well, there was a historiographical revolution in the 19th century, and the tension between positivism and historicism. If you haven't gone through that, I apologize for bringing that up too. But historicism, everything historical is relative. Positivism, this is physics, that's unchangeable. But within 100 years, there's no tension between positivism and historicism. All reality has been historicized from Heidegger forward. If all reality is historicized, then what? See, I didn't even ask if you knew who Heidegger was or Gadamer, but these are high priests. These are the people that got us in all this trouble. If all reality is historicized, there isn't what? Truth. You have changing what? Open-ended what? See, if there's a structure of creation, then historicism is not acceptable. But when you get rid of that, historicism is any ISM is a worldview. I told you that. Historicism says all reality is history, and history is what? Static or what? So from Hegel forward to Gadamer to Heidegger to Wittgenstein to the world that we'll talk about this afternoon, if you Chris and I will talk if you're not here. We'll just talk to ourselves. Won't we, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to talk to myself because my wife, she would put me in a home, and we don't have, it costs $50,000 a year to put a person in a Christian home where I'm from. I don't know what it costs here. And we could stay about two years, and then I'd be gone. There's no point. She'd be healthy, wealthy, and beautiful, but I'd be locked up in a cage. But anyway, if everything, from Hegel forward, Hegel was a Lutheran. Kant was a religious person. But their views paralyzed us. But Hegel, after Hegel, and Hegel to Darwin, Darwinian theory we'll mention this afternoon, because that's not here yet. I mean, it's here yet, but it wasn't here in the development. There's no individual, no historical event that is normative to interpret reality. What does that do to the Judeo-Christian heritage?
Jesus is irrelevant.
Jesus is just one of the events in the flow of history. What does that do to the Bible, the authoritative normative structure, foundation of the Judeo-Christian faith? No document is what? Is authority. It's only authority for the period in which it's written. And we're in a different world, so it's no longer authority. That's a postmodern world. After Hegel and after Darwin, no particular thing, no particular person is normative to interpret reality. Then Jesus is out, the gospel is out, it is nonsense, and that's where we get the postmodern world. The historization of all reality. Now, technically, that came in Heidegger. Now, I want to tell you the first time that I had a Heidegger seminar, we were reading the German text, and I got a migraine every day. But see, the impact was far larger than that little class that I was in. Sein und Zeit, being in time. All reality does what? All reality does what? Flux flows.
Heraclitus.
Now it's Heraclitus. But that's postmodern world. Everything is in flux. If everything's in flux, then nothing is normative, and our heritage is offensive. It's not only nonsense, it's offensive. And that's why it's offensive to claim that only Jesus saves. It offends people. Postmodern, even church members, I mean, say that. Well, what about these good people that believe this and believe? Well, I say, what about them? I don't have a list anyway, and I don't know what I'd do with it if I had the list. See? So these are things that unpack in our culture. The implication of them, I think we can talk about even late Saturday when there's no basketball or football or hockey games or baseball. Is there? And you're missing those games?
There's a playoff game.
What playoff game?
Pistons.
I'd never heard of these people. I never. Those are things in the car.
Yeah.
We were spared from hockey this year.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, I believe in you, God. You're taking some of these idols away from the brothers.
It's only game one.
Oh, they got only 100.
7-game series.
Oh, 7-game series. You got 6 more. When what's his name is long gone, you forget this chatter and we go to these real things, these important things. I was shouting like an insane asylum or a banshee. And just crying, the umpire, kill the umpire. See, but you're a postmodern empire, so how can he be wrong or she be wrong? See, these are all alternative perspectives, but if you ever seen a maniac audience, a dad coming down out of the audience there to wring his neck and said, he's not postmodern at all. He just said, you don't see well. Well, how do you see? Well, anyway, all these influences,
Come back to the Pacers game.
all these things come in flow. And don't forget that one of the crises in the Roman Empire, at that time, that's been 2 or 3 years ago, that was the greatest empire that ever stood. And one of the things that Caesar, now they make bread and stuff, Caesar salads, they make salads. One of the things that unified the Roman Empire was what? You know.
Power and law.
They did.
All.
But what did they have to do?
Roads.
All these things true, you get
It's
A.
conquered first.
But they entertain people, bread and circuses. If you can't keep people entertained, they're going to be upset. So what did they do to entertain the masses? The games, the gladiators. So our culture is no longer the gladiator, except in shows. But our culture, now watch it like a hawk, see, because I'm not opposed to hockey, nor baseball, nor basketball, nor football. I just don't want it to have priority over my decision-making procedure.
Yes.
Oh, and that would offend. I know elders, chairman of the board, you know, they split the church in fire, somebody'd say like that. I said, I've been thrown out a better place than this, so that's all right. But see, it comes whenever a people can't be committed to something, you have to do what to keep some solidarity in the community? You just said it. Entertainment. I'm not opposed to entertainment. I don't go around and say, well, he's some nerd. He's a pietistic withdrawn in a nunnery or monastery someplace meditating on his navel. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about priorities. In every culture in the history of the world, it can be credentialed historically, where there's crisis, the larger the empire gets, the more problem you have. So you've got to have more entertainment to keep solidity. They don't ask questions, you see. What, did you have fun? Yes, a lot of fun. What did you, I don't know about that, but it was fun. I didn't go to learn anything. I just go see somebody beat somebody's brains out. I like that. That's really entertaining to me. Well, why? That's why media is very important for the church to understand. It's not a hostility to media. Media is here.
Wasn't there that story back in the early 90s where they determined that your brain activity was less watching television than when you're sleeping?
I'm sure that could be phenomenologically credentialed. Well, think, the impact, the phenomenological impact of media. And I mean by that, what is the experience watching it? And if you got a migraine watching a baseball game, now, it's not you, but in Illinois, I know people that paid $1,000 a game to sit up front in a ball game.